how VeLL never gon' change. You don't know ass nigga, that be the gang. Same nigga I used to be. Fried niggas get used to me. Dead man, if you fool with me, say that for your eulogy. Yo, what is going on, y'all? It's your boy VeLL, and we're back with another Mobile Legends video, and we have another banger, yo. So you all know we just had the pro player Sino on the channel. He gave us some little advice, some tips and tricks and stuff like that. Now I got something else very, very special for y'all. So make sure you go ahead and drop that thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on the notifications because we're going to be dropping banger after banger after banger, yo. So what we have here is two of the top global Argus players in the world. There are millions of people who play Mobile Legends, and these guys have maintained the 1 and 2 spot for the longest. They're each other's rivals. They've been going at it for the top 1 Argus spot for the longest, and they've actually come together to help me educate the community and share some tips and advice with us all. So I want to shout out them. Make sure you all go ahead and check out their YouTube channels. Check out the links down below, and it's going to be the first comment down below. Make sure you all go ahead and check them out. And that's pretty much all I want to say to you all. So make sure you all go ahead, check them out and stuff like that. And we're going to get right into the interview. So I interviewed them, and this is what they had to say. Let's jump straight into it. And also, before we jump into it, if you have any questions for them, any questions, comments, anything, drop that down below in the comment section. And let's jump straight into it. I want to get you all's opinion on basically Argus and non-meta heroes, and what basically got y'all into playing non-meta heroes, and how you all got started.
Should I go first?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I started playing Fanny back in like season 3 when she used to be considered bad, and then I got really good with her because I got destroyed one time by some random dude using Fanny, and I'm like, oh, I could be like that because I was using Eudora at the time, and I guess she was considered good or something like that. And then I came across Argus. At first, I didn't like him because I kept losing with him and stuff like that, and I decided to be better with him. And so I kept playing him till I started winning most of my matches, and ever since then, I started liking him, and he grew onto me. And that's my story with Argus.
Okay. What about you?
Alright, so when I started playing Mobile Legends, I was never really a meta hero player. Actually, I started playing Bane back in season 4 or something when I started the game. And then the meta began to shift, and then the game started getting a lot of updates. And then there was this hero. Actually, I got to know Argus through VeLL's channel because VeLL was making videos about him when he was released.
That's crazy.
And then I was like, oh, this hero looks really cool. Because there was videos about him versus Alucard and stuff, and then he was looking really strong. So I started playing Argus. And after a little while, he became a little bit unpopular because people were saying you could just run away from his ultimate and stuff.
Yeah.
But I kept pushing on because I still like the hero. And so here I am, I guess.
Yeah, same.
That's dope, because I think I actually liked playing Argus when he first came out as well. But when he stopped being meta and people started saying, yo, all you gotta do is run away and stuff like that, I just didn't stick with playing them. And I've always played Mobile Legends off and on mainly anyway, because I'm usually too busy making content. So it's dope to see you all actually stuck with him, and you've been able to take an unpopular hero and basically become two of the best players in the world. Do you all ever think about that? It's millions of people who play Mobile Legends, and you all are
crazy.
in the top.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's insane, yo. So
yeah, when I first picked up Argus, it wasn't when he first came out. It was after a little while, when he was considered bad, and then destroying people with him just gave me that rush. It was so satisfying. When they get upset, and that's mainly why I mostly play him.
So how do you all feel about him right now in the current meta? Is he viable now more so than how he used to be, or what are your thoughts? Because I know he just got an update lately. So how do you all feel about him right now?
Honestly, the update feels more of a quality of life thing. You don't really feel that he got buffed. I can feel the nerf on his second skill though. That 10% really can mean the difference between like a
Yeah,
kill or a death.
I do agree with Talcime. It is kind of like a quality of life buff. It's not like a buff that changes him completely, but it's like a really good update for Argus users.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's still bugs with him though. Like in his animation, like you can't use his ultimate. That needs to get it like fixed.
So have you all been still playing him much lately, or waiting for him to get fixed?
Yeah. I play him either way. If he's bad, I'll still play him.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with him. But actually, in this current meta, he's quite useful because I see a lot of burst heroes recently, and with like the new heroes like Lilia and Export releasing, they have a lot of
I
damage to
agree.
put out.
I
And because
agree.
of the immortality factor, he can like
Yeah, the
more
only
of some of that
thing
burst.
the only thing that keeps him from like being up there is it has to be his early game. I mostly struggle with his early game like a lot. If someone is able to like pin me to like a point where I can't even get gold, that's usually when like I find myself having to make tough choices.
Yeah, that's probably it.
So
Because it's yeah.
what is the what's the biggest secret to using Argus? Like, how can you go against people who using all meta heroes, trying hard, sweating with the strongest OP heroes, using a hero that's probably considered one of the worst right now?
Honestly, I think is knowing when to strike and when to back out of fights. Like if you know that the fight you're about to take, you can take it. I advise you to take it. But if you know for a fact you have a gut feeling that if you take that fight, you might die and cause your team to lose a whole match, then don't take it.
I think it's mostly due to experience because I'm pretty sure me and Talsime have like thousands of matches with Argus by now,
Yeah,
and then we've been playing him like through multiple seasons, multiple metas, and I think like against all of the heroes in Mobile Legends by now, I think it just comes down to the fact that we know what to do in certain
yeah,
situations.
and we know the capability of what Argus can do.
Yeah, the limitations and which heroes he can counter and which he's countered by.
Yeah.
So personally, from your personal experience, like compared to heroes like Chu and Kacha and heroes like that who are very famous fighters for being the best in Mobile Legends, what would you rank Argus? Being an expert with him.
Like I would rank him like if it's late game, he's like ADC but close range. That's how I view him. He's like a
Yeah,
marksman but without the range.
yeah, he's like a
So
marksman without the need to be very careful about your positioning.
yeah, if you get CC'd, you're basically screwed. Unless
Yeah,
like you could like live through all of that and able to like make up for it with the sheer damage you could do
yeah, but
with
at
the
a state
passive.
where he has like all of his items, Argus becomes a
Yeah.
very carefree hero.
Yeah,
Like you
late
can just
game.
jump into a bunch of people and then
Yeah,
nothing
late
happens to
game
you.
you could be so carefree. Like Void is saying, like you don't really have a fear in the world. The only thing that you should be afraid of is not hitting your alt right.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's just the timing of that alt. If you time that alt perfectly, you're just smooth. There's nothing to worry about at all.
yeah, you can
Yeah,
just smoke everybody.
yeah. If you could get that 1-2 combo in, that's even more perfect. Because if the enemy runs away, you could easily be on their backs and make sure they're dead.
So one important thing is that the situations, like you all talk a lot about the experience that you have, you know what to do in certain situations. So what are the situations that Argus excels in, and what are some situations that's not favorable, so you just know to back out of it? What are some examples of?
All right, starting with the worst situations to be in has to be if the enemy has like a lot of CC. I typically don't like picking Argus against Cho, but if you do pick him, like you have to struggle till late game where you basically have to waste your ultimate just to be able to dish out damage.
Yeah, for the worst scenarios, it's usually against enemies with high CC or enemies that can like provoke you to use your ult, but then they can
Yeah,
escape you. So to avoid being punished by it,
Okay.
like Gujin, when he like
yeah,
throws his daggers up, he can cause you to just use your ult immediately,
yeah.
but he can
He's
still
one of the
blink
most
away.
annoying people to face as an Argus player.
Oh, Gajin. Gajin's really hard. Gajin and Chow.
Yeah, The
Yeah.
moment he puts a mark on you, like you should be watching your ultimate like as soon as possible, because if he comes, he could easily just burst you down.
Yeah, he can burst you down really fast, especially if he comes from an ambush. So you have to be ready at all times.
Yeah, people like Fanny, I struggle a bit until late game when I have my damage and lifesteal. People like Franco especially, he could literally lock you down for like half of your ultimate's duration. And if
Yeah.
their team has like more CC, you're even more screwed because you're basically stunned for eternity.
Yeah, you can get chain stun, but that's where like the engagement process happens. You can't
Yeah.
always jump in by yourself. You have to like rely on your teammates a little bit.
So, what spell do you all use? Do you use like Purify to counter the CC, or do you use like Retribution to farm faster, or what's your
Well,
approach?
well, ever since the update on his ultimate where he removes debuffs, I found myself not taking Purify as much as I used to, and I mostly focus on Sprint and Inspire. Void is open-minded. He uses whatever he
Yeah.
feels like suits the situation. I stick to like 2.
I just consider all the spells as like utility items. Like in the past, I would use Purify to avoid being CC'd so much, but like Talcime said, after the update, he has a remove debuff capability in his ultimate.
Yeah.
So I don't find myself using Purify as much. But whenever I find myself against heroes that are like run up in your face and then do damage, like Badang, Alice, or something like that, I will just take Inspire. Because, like I said before, if they have a lot of burst damage, your ultimate can simply ignore that. And then if you have Inspire, you can punish them for trying to fight you. So it
Yeah.
kind of works like that.
Plus,
Okay.
if you ambush them too, you're just raining heavy amounts of damage on them,
Yeah,
and
in a
there's
very quick
nothing they could do about it other than run or CCU, and hopefully they don't have an Argus chasing them.
time.
It's okay. So, what are some of the situations where it's favorable? It's in your favor. Like you see a team comp or you see some certain heroes, and you're like, "Oh, this is going to be an easy win."
In
Um,
fact, me when I see like heroes like Mia, like they don't really have any flicker skills. Yeah, heroes where like who doesn't have flicker skills, I tend to have an easier time fighting against because they can't run from me, and I could just give them full amounts of damage and have no worries in the world that they can escape.
Yeah, heroes that are really helpless when they get caught because they don't really have any means of getting out of the fight. Like Eudora, Alucard. Alucard has a jump, but
Yeah.
Argus's grab is longer range. So that's how
Yeah.
it works.
so, like Gord is even useless as well against you all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
You
because
just eat
Gord's
all his
ultimate.
damage too.
Okay. Okay. So, when it comes down to getting fed and putting yourself in a position to perform well with Argus, like how do you all approach the laning? Like what lane do you go to? How do you form? What's your rotations look like? Like really in depth into how you all start the game and get to where you want to be to the point where you're super fed and can carry. What do you do?
For me, it depends what my team wants to do and which strategy they're taking. If they want to invade mid and go for the buffs, and there's someone covering top, because if no one's covering top, I usually go top. I would go with my team, but if someone isn't covering top, I would just go straight top and just clear minions and try to like play like passive till I get my ultimate, because that's when I feel safe.
Yeah, usually I just go for the off lane because that's usually the best place for Argus to lane at because he can
Yeah,
get a lot of free farm by himself.
Okay, so the
yeah,
off
Un-
lane.
solo or like what a support. I prefer.
You prefer him with a support. Which supports do you think complement him best?
Most all types of supports really. I think supports that gives them speed ups and like stops enemies from moving. I think those are the best supports for Argus.
yeah, because supports have this kind of they have a playstyle where they stop enemies from escaping, but at the same time they buff up their teammates, like
Yeah,
Didi or Rafaela, for example. And Argus has always been a hero that is kind of he has kind of a bit of problems chasing enemies by himself. So when you put him
pair
together
up
with other
with a
supports,
support.
yeah, then they have a very good synergy.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I do notice that Tal, you play with Rafaela a lot. You and
Yeah, Tamaria.
yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
So
I had to quickly mention her.
yeah, I mean
And it's good.
she's really good. I've seen you two together. You all go crazy. And
Yeah.
how do you go from like how do you take a hero that hasn't been used in years really consistently by anyone super huge in the community, and like how do you just get to like hundreds of stars into Mythic with this type of hero? Like how can you are you going up against really good players sometimes? Do you meet other top globals when you
Yeah.
play?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Like on the daily, I just meet globals, like on the matches.
So how are you able to beat them using their OP heroes and you just use Argus?
Sometimes I win off of some miracles. Like out of nowhere they mess up, and then I just take that opportunity to like punish them for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so game awareness. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
And if it comes
mistakes.
down to it, like most of the meta heroes, they're really strong, but I think the drawback with that is that they become very predictable after a while because everybody uses them.
Yeah.
So even if we go against globals who have like top tier heroes as their mains, we kind of know the capabilities of them and how Argus stacks up against them in what kind of situation. So it really just comes down to game knowledge and experience.
Yeah, I agree. And taking out their most valuable player is key also.
Yeah, that
And
actually makes
sometimes you
sense.
could win by like just split pushing. Sometimes you get in their base, right? And then you're just like hacking at the tower and there's nothing the enemies could do about it. Sometimes I would
Yeah.
hit the enemy so that the tower would attack me instead of the minions so I could have more time to attack the tower so I
Actually,
could
I've done
end
that
the game
before.
faster. Yeah,
It's
it's hella annoying to
because
deal
one of
with.
the only heroes who can just stay inside the base and keep attacking, even if the
Yes,
enemies try to kill
facts.
you. It doesn't work.
Wow. So you all just really have it down to a science. It's really with a hero like Argus, it seems like it's your decision making.
Yeah,
Like you're not just dependent on a hero that's just super overpowered and their abilities. You're using abilities like you're basically in control of everything. You're the reason that
yeah,
Argus is successful more so than the hero just being super good or bad.
yeah, and using brains and stuff like that.
So
Yeah.
that's actually really dope. That's really, and it makes a lot of sense because you are like it makes sense that you would be used to going against the most powerful heroes in the game, while people who use the most powerful heroes in the game, they would never know how to really prepare for a good Argus player because they're rarely running into a person who uses it. So um,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So it becomes very favorable for us.
Yeah, so you all are just going to have more
yeah,
knowledge and experience by default. Like,
yeah. Plus, at times they doubt you. They see an Argus right. They're like, "Ah, shit, it's easy win." And then
Yeah.
they go up against you. They're like, "Shit, how are we losing to this guy?"
Yeah.
If you're ever in that situation, it's satisfying as hell.
Yeah.
that's crazy, yo. I remember when I actually first saw you. Jesus mode went crazy when he saw you in the game because he knew who you was, and I was like, "What?" Like he said, the number one Argus. I didn't know there was a such thing as a number one Argus. Like I didn't know anyone played him, but then I saw you play, and it was just insane. You were literally like we matched up, and you were carrying every
Yeah,
single game. Like it was literally insane. I had never even, I didn't have an open mind to think that something like that was possible. So that was that was actually really dope to see. So what are some of the tips that you use to get fed with Argus? Because Argus is very farm dependent, right? So how do you
yeah.
get fed fast?
Me, I usually just never miss a minion and farm like what map awareness. Like if I'm going for a gold buff, I need to make sure that there's no enemies just lying around, just getting ready to take it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I would like cut the minions and then have a head start on the enemy because I'm already attacking my monster while they're clearing their wave, right? And then I go back for them and then just steal their monster as they're attacking it. Or sometimes I do the other way. I just clear the minions and just patiently wait in the bush and then wait for them to almost kill their monster and just take it. And
Okay.
Yeah.
I think early starts are like important on Argus too. If you have an
Yeah.
early start, you could easily snowball or carry the game.
That's
Yeah.
actually similar to what Sino said earlier. He was talking about how with fighters you usually go and harass the enemy's farm, like try to take their last hits on their farm and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
So
because even though Argus is kind of farm dependent, he's still a fighter. So just
Yeah.
by the role itself, he has the potential. Even in the early game, he has the potential to try and harass enemies or try to fight back.
Yeah, and
He's not.
he's good at singling out enemies too. If you could land a good grip, like that split-second stun could mean the world for your teammates.
Yeah, it can mean everything for the enemy too, because it's like that split second is the time that it's just a little bit of time that you need to
Yeah.
kill them.
Plus, most people could get their damage in those little few seconds.
that's true. That's very very true. So what what makes you I don't know, I guess what makes you decide to main Argus? I know that you're really really good with him, but is there not any other hero in Mobile Legends that you feel like he
Can
is better than Argus?
fill the shoes
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Argus. Honestly, I chose to main him because first, I didn't want to be squishy, but I didn't want to be a tank either. So it just combines both worlds. You could be your own tank and deal like crazy amounts of damage. That's
Yeah,
why I
that's
fell
true.
in love with Argus.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of combines both separate
Yeah, you
entities
could
into
be
one.
your own assassin and be your own tank at the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can like deal lots of damage, but at the same time you have this very reliable skill that makes sure you don't die while trying to do so.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
insane.
mainly why I play him.
So how did you two meet, the two top Argus players? How did you all meet each other?
Yeah, I think I hit him up right at
Yeah, I
SB and
think
stuff
so.
like that,
It's been
and
quite a while
then
since
we
we've
just
met.
kicked it off. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
asked him if he had a Discord,
I
and
think
then
Talcime hit
ever
me up
since, yeah,
in ML or on YouTube, I think.
yeah, I hit up like most top Argus players, and then Void was like the only one, and I think he was number one at the time. He actually replied back, and ever since then we were good friends.
Yeah.
That's dope. And then you all had Argus to connect over, since you all
Yeah,
have similar
Yeah,
mindsets clearly.
we have this one topic to talk over because we're both like top global Argus players.
yeah, and
So
his builds and emblems.
since you all really think outside of the box already, are there any other heroes that you would consider underrated that can be very powerful in the meta?
And the meta, like
Like
I've seen a good Ballman, but like that's like a given. He must he must be like extremely fed to be good. To be honest,
Yeah, the only
uh,
time where Belmont works is if he snowballs, but that's very rare
yeah,
as well.
yeah, and I think Sun, Alpha, are like gems basically. Alpha is pretty good. I think Sun is good too. Like I think both of them are very good.
I
Sun,
think
he has his clones.
I think Martis hasn't been used recently, but I think he's pretty good actually because he has this capability to get kills. Like when enemies are at low HP, they always have to be careful when there's a Martis on the enemy team because he can always
Yeah.
execute them.
yeah,
Plus, I've versed a very good Sun before, and like the damage all three of them was like doing on me, like was crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, his son is actually insane. Like he
Yeah.
counters Esmeralda. Like that's how much damage he does.
In
When
fact,
Yeah.
every time I go against like a good Sun, like my toes just like curl up because yeah, the damage is crazy.
Yeah,
Zask,
when
I
you're
don't
against
know
a
if Zask
stun.
is underrated anymore, but his damage is also crazy too.
Yeah, Zask is still pretty underrated, but I've seen some players use him in the off lane and he can work really well because he can
Yeah.
push and he can like sustain himself now because he goes inside the turret.
wow, yeah, that Zaz update made him actually very very insane. Like I
Yeah.
Facts.
hate going against him, honestly.
Yeah, his early game is like nothing I've versed before.
Yeah, and because now when Zask is like when he's threatened, he can just go inside the spawn whenever
Yeah,
he feels
he
like he's in an
basically has his immortality if you think about it.
yeah, something like
Yeah,
He's actually similar to Argus. Actually, it seems like
yeah.
facts.
with that
Yeah,
ultimate defense.
Yeah, they are similar because both of them are also kind of farm dependent. They're good split pushers. They can work in the off lane, and they have this
Yeah.
reliable skill for survivability.
And all you really have to do is just get positioning down, and bam, you win the game.
I think Estes is pretty underrated. He can provide a lot
Yeah.
of heal, but most people don't seem to use him.
We actually saw Brent Esports use Estes yesterday, and they did pretty well with him. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I've seen some of the Filipino teams use Estes, like with Belleric or Alex or
For real.
something. They have a lot of heal capability.
Yeah, there's a lot of heroes I would like to see in the new meta coming up in the future.
Yeah, because the meta is pretty stagnant right now. Most of
Yeah,
the heroes
you basically see. Yeah, continue.
I see the same heroes like every single fight. So I would like to see the meta open up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I see the same heroes over and over again. There will be times in ranked where I just fight the same teams but different people.
Yeah, the
That
same
should be
team comp.
annoying.
So what like in order to change that, people need to start being aware that it's possible to be outliers like you all and take heroes that people think are dead and really become insane enough with them to carry and actually do well because you all perform at a pretty high level. It's like you see some people who are top globals like with like 50% win rates and stuff like that, 50-40% win. They just play a lot, like win or lose, they play
Yeah.
a lot. But you all actually win. You use these heroes and you consistently win, and that shows that you're capable of hanging in this meta. So, what's your advice for people to pick a non-meta hero and actually get to the level that you've gotten to with Argus? How do you take a non-meta hero and do that?
Honestly, I'll start with learning the game mechanics on like how gold affects different things and different aspects of the game, and just go off of that.
Yeah, most heroes, especially the underrated heroes, they all work in a semi different way. Like they
Yeah.
have different effects on them, whether they get gold or they don't have much gold. Like let's say Ruby, she isn't really an item dependent hero, but
Yeah.
she has a good laning state. She has CC for herself. She can lifesteal. She can lifesteal right off the bat. She doesn't need lifesteal items to do that. So if you're trying to main an underrated hero, I think the most important thing is to understand the mechanics of that hero and how
For real.
he or she can fight against the other meta heroes.
Yeah, if you're maining someone like Zylong, like you have to know like whether you're able to get fed that game or not,
Yeah, you
depending
have
on the plays you do and the actions you take.
yeah, and depending on the enemy composition too, is it like
Yeah.
Xylong? Xylong is pretty weak when the enemy has lockdown. He's kind of like Argus
Yeah.
too. So you have to make sure the enemy team has
Yeah, he's
heroes that
like
you can
Argus
take
but
advantage
without
of.
the immortality.
Yeah, he has a lot of speed though, so that's what you need to
Yeah.
take into account.
He has a lot of attack speed too.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he can that allows him to split push and farm faster and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think each hero seems to have their own thing that can make them powerful, that can make or break them basically. It's
yeah,
just about learning how to adapt to how you play
Yeah,
with
yeah.
those
But most of
heroes.
and it's about knowing how to make them effective also.
Yeah, because most players right now in the current meta, they are used to heroes that are really catered towards a very simplistic playstyle. Like Lunox has a lot of heal in the beginning of the game. She can survive on her own pretty easily. Like Esmeralda, she has very simple to use skills. You just tap
Yeah.
on them basically, and she gets like full shield. Most of the underrated heroes, they have a mechanic that makes them useful, potentially quite good, but maybe some people are not willing to learn them because they're not used to those heroes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Plus
was.
they don't see very good players play them on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest problems. A lot of the biggest players in the community. The meta, I used to talk about it a lot more, but basically all people do in the Mobile Legends community is they find the most powerful broken hero and they just spam it. They spam use it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they either
for
spam it or they ban it.
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
me, if I ever look for another main, I would usually just go through the hero list and just check out who has the most MMR and stuff like that. That's probably
Yeah,
how most people pick their mains. They just go off of who has the highest MMR.
true. That I mean that's a smart way to go about it.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's good to see players in the community who aren't just like choosing powerful heroes. when you're using weaker heroes, but for what your hero lacks, you're using your mind and different strategies and awareness to make up for. You're using actual skills that all mobile players should have, but because Mobile Legends releases some very OP heroes, most players don't need to have it. Like they release heroes,
they have to cut back on some of that.
Yeah, it's insane. Like if you have mechanical skill, that's all you need with certain heroes. Like Gaijin, for instance. Like if you can be mechanical and crazy with him like that, that's all you really need. No tactics really involved. If he's fed, he'll destroy you.
So, yeah, that's how most mages work. Actually, they just get fed to a certain degree, and then they just destroy everyone because of their damage.
Yeah, it's not a lot of heroes where you have to be as tactical as you all have to be with Argus on a regular basis. So it's good to see players willing to go that extra mile and strengthen your mind to the point where you can compete with somebody who has every advantage over you, because you're just smart enough to be able to. So that's dope.
Yeah. Plus, with every update, they like change like small things about the battlefield and how it works. Like next update, they're like reducing minions, like how much gold they give by like 7%, and I think that will affect like heroes that have to use like battlefield knowledge and stuff like that, like Argus. In a way.
So you think that's going to negatively impact them?
It depends how you view it. I mean, the kills do increase. I feel like the meta next update is gonna be more catered towards like assassins and people that could kill.
Yeah, people that can secure kills easier will get a lot more gold than people who just rely on the lane.
Yeah.
Wow, that almost sounds like a nerf to like marksman and stuff.
Facts. Marksman gonna feel it.
But it might mean that the game goes longer a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. If nobody's securing kills, if people not overextending and making bad choices.
Yeah, plus it might be like the early game might be like you might really feel the early game next update.
People might just start playing safe and then the game just goes longer and longer.
Yeah.
All right, well, is there anything else that you all would like to say about Argus or anything like that you want to say?
I feel like more people should pick him up so that he gets more skins.
Yeah, Argus deserves more love, guys.
Facts. He needs more love than skins.
Yeah.
Well, all right, and go ahead and shout yourselves out. Like, where can people find you if they want to follow some great Argus players? Like, how can people find you?
They could find me on YouTube. Like, I have a YouTube channel, Talcime, like my name literally.
You can find me.
He also has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's called Unending Void. Check it out.
All right, I'm gonna leave those linked in the as the first comment down below so people can go and see that. And thanks for coming on the channel. I definitely appreciate having you all here.
Yeah, thank you so for having me. And if people want to like contact me, my Discord is Talcime hashtag like 8200. If they have any extra questions.
Self-promotion.
Oh yeah, they'll probably definitely leave them down in the comment section below. But yeah, thanks for coming on, and I'll catch you all later. Make sure you all drop a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and check out the links in the comment section. And peace out, y'all.
I'm on it. Can't fail for my family. I want it, so they'll never need hope or want it. A break, just something that I